What's up, Geek Force? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the DC universe, but we're leaving the doom and gloom behind. Forget brooding billionaires and cosmic crisis for a minute. We're on a mission to find out who really brings the laughs. That's right, we're counting down the funniest characters in the DC universe. Now, funny can mean a lot of things. It can be witty one-liners, absurd situations, or just pure, chaotic energy. So, our list is going to have a little bit of everything. Kicking things off, let us talk about a character who's mastered the art of the sarcastic comeback, Guy Gardner. Forget Hal Jordan's stoicism or Jon Stewart's military discipline. Guy Gardner is the Green Lantern who runs his mouth as much as he uses his ring. He's arrogant, he's hot-headed, and honestly, he's kind of a jerk. But that's what makes him hilarious. Reading the Justice League International comics from the 80s is a masterclass in his brand of comedy. His constant bickering with, well, everyone, especially Batman, is legendary. Remember that time Batman knocked him out with one punch? It was the glorious, satisfying, and hilarious culmination of all his trash talk. Guy is the cosmic loudmouth you can't help but love to see it taken down a peg, and his over-the-top confidence is a constant source of laughs. Next up, a character who finds humor in the most unexpected places, even in the face of his own mortality. Let's hear it for the one and only Plastic Man. Originally a crook named Eel O'Brien, a dip in some mystery chemicals gave him the power to stretch and mold his body into literally anything. And I mean asterisk anything asterisk. A car? Done. A teapot? Easy. A dress for Wonder Woman? It happened, and it was glorious. What makes Plastic Man so funny isn't just his powers, it's his mind. He's a walking, talking cartoon character dropped into the often serious world of DC heroes. His thought process is a bizarre, non-stop stream of consciousness filled with puns, pop culture references, and slapstick gags. He's the ultimate visual comedian. While Batman is interrogating a suspect with grim determination, Plastic Man has probably turned himself into a potted plant in the corner just to see what happens. He breaks the tension and reminds us that being a superhero can actually be fun. He's pure, unadulterated, stretchy chaos. All right, moving on from heroes, let's talk about a villain whose entire existence is a punchline. Character so hilariously incompetent, he's become an icon. I'm talking about Kite Man. Yes, Kite Man. Hell yeah. His real name is Charles Brown, and his gimmick is kites. That's it. In a world of literal gods, alien invaders, and reality-warping wizards, this guy fights crime with weaponized kites. It's so wonderfully, beautifully absurd. For years, he was a C-list running gag, the kind of villain Batman would defeat in a single panel before getting to the real threat. But then, Tom King's run on Batman gave him this incredible, tragic, and surprisingly funny backstory. He became this lovable loser, a guy just trying to make it in Gotham's tough criminal underworld, whose catchphrase, "Kite Man, hell yeah," became a symbol of pathetic but endearing optimism. He proves that you don't need to be a major threat to be a memorable character. Sometimes, just being the butt of the joke is a superpower in itself. Now for our next entry, we have a character who is a master of breaking not just bones, but the fourth wall. You know who I'm talking about. The one, the only, Harley Quinn. When she first appeared in Batman, the animated series, she was the Joker's funny, bubbly sidekick. But over the years, she has evolved into so much more. After breaking free from her toxic relationship with Mr. J, Harley became the star of her own show, and that's when her comedy truly exploded. Her humor is a wild mix of manic energy, slapstick violence, and a self-aware meta-commentary on the comic book world she lives in. She talks to the audience, she points out plot holes, she complains about her writers. Harley's comedy comes from her complete and utter unpredictability. One minute she's having a heartfelt conversation with her best friend Poison Ivy. The next she's hitting a penguin with a giant mallet because he looked at her funny. She's the queen of chaotic good, and her journey from sidekick to A-list anti-hero has been as hilarious as it has been empowering. Okay, time for a deep cut. Let us talk about a hero who is practically the physical embodiment of a dad joke. The elongated man, Ralph Dibny. People often mix him up with Plastic Man, but they're very different. While Plas is all about chaotic visual gags, Ralph is a detective whose humor is more subtle and character-driven. Ralph got his stretching powers from drinking a concentrated version of a soda called Gin Gold. The source of his powers is literally a soft drink. That alone is pretty funny. But the real joy of Ralph Dibny comes from his personality. He's an eternal optimist, a loving husband to his wife Sue, and he has this delightful, slightly dorky curiosity about everything. Whenever his nose twitches, you know he's smelled a mystery, and his goofy, old-school detective shtick is a perfect contrast to Batman's dark and gritty approach. He is the kind of guy who would stop a bank robbery and then make a terrible pun about how the crook's plans were. A real stretch. He's charming, he's cheesy, and he's an essential part of the heart and humor of the DC Universe. Now, for a character whose comedy comes not from what he says, but from how he says it and the absurd situations he finds himself in. Let's talk about the demon Etrigan and his human host, Jason Blood. Jason Blood is a serious, often tormented occult expert. But when he speaks the magic words, he transforms into Etrigan, a rhyming demon from the depths of hell. And that's the gimmick. Etrigan speaks asterisk only asterisk in rhymes, all the time. No exceptions. Gone, gone, the form of man. Rise, the demon Etrigan. From there on out, it's all iambic, pentameter, and hellfire. The humor comes from the sheer commitment to the bit. Imagine a giant, monstrous demon trying to explain a complex magical threat while being forced to find a rhyme for interdimensional paradox. It's brilliant. The contrast between his terrifying appearance and his almost poetic Dr. Seuss from Hell way of speaking is a constant source of comedy. Etrigan proves that even the most demonic beings can have a flair for the dramatic, and in his case, the dramatically hilarious. Okay, let's bring it back to the more mainstream characters for a moment. He's faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and ... surprisingly funny? Yes, let's talk about Superman. I know. You're thinking of the big blue Boy Scout, the symbol of truth and justice. But hear me out. Clark Kent is where the humor lies. Think about it. The most powerful being on the planet has to pretend to be a clumsy, mild-mannered, slightly awkward reporter. The physical comedy of Superman, a man who can juggle planets, pretending to trip over a chair or fumble with his glasses, is pure gold. It's a classic comedic trope, the secret identity farce, and he's the master. Furthermore, in many modern interpretations, his interactions with the rest of the Justice League are hilarious. He's the cosmic straight man to everyone else's chaos. His earnest farm boy reactions to Batman's paranoia, Flash's hyperactivity, or Green Lantern's ego are often the source of the League's funniest moments. Superman's humor isn't about telling jokes. It's about the inherent comedy of a god trying to be a man. And finally, we arrive at our number one pick. The character who, for my money, is the absolute funniest in the entire DC universe. He's the heart of the Flash family and the master of rapid-fire wit. Of course, I'm talking about Wally West, the Flash. While Barry Allen has his moments, Wally West is the true comedian of the speedsters. Growing up as Kid Flash, he was the wisecracking sidekick, but when he took on the mantle of the Flash, he brought that humor and humanity to the forefront. Wally's humor is relatable. He's not a billionaire or a god. He's a regular guy from Blue Valley who won the power lottery. He geeks out over meeting his heroes. He makes dumb jokes in the middle of a fight to calm his nerves. And his running inner monologue is a goldmine of sarcastic observations and pop culture gags. He uses his humor as a coping mechanism, but also as a way to connect with people. He's the guy who will disarm a bomb with a fraction of a second to spare, and then immediately make a joke about needing a snack. His speed of thought wit, combined with his down-to-earth personality, makes every panel and every scene he's in an absolute joy. He is, without a doubt, DC's comedic champion. So there you have it, folks. Our list of the funniest characters in the DC universe. From sarcastic ringslingers to rhyming demons and the fastest jokester alive. Of course, this is all subjective, so I want to hear from you. Who did I miss? Who is your number one funniest character? Drop your pics in the comments below. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today here at Geek Force. Yeah, if you had fun, do us a huge favor and smash that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the geek world. We'll see you in the next one. Stay nerdy.